Hello there, this is Dr. Jason Munsell. It is Monday, June 29th, another hot day. It's about 1:38 Central Standard Time. I've given you some pretty thorough notes on that chapter on Reagan by Goodnight. So take a look at those notes and make sure you read the chapter. I know there's lots of stuff going on and you're working on your second paper. Boy, I'm sweating. But just let me know how I can help. I'm going to be on the road, leaving tomorrow morning, traveling to South Carolina. It's going to take us a few days, but in any case, I just wanted to say a couple of different things about the Reagan chapter. And I'm going to be very, very brief here, again, because I know you have a lot to do. But I thought it would be fitting to say a few words where I am presently, because I spent a lot of my time at this particular place during the Reagan administration, and in a lot of ways I think the structure before me is a structural, architectural metaphor for the Reagan administration. I'm at the mall, Woodland Hills Mall, the biggest mall in Tulsa. I was a mall rat, but in any case, a couple of points that I want to make before I go in here and go shopping, to live out the American dream, because you know the American dream is all about status and material wealth and buying stuff. Go USA. The first thing I wanted to say a little bit about the imperial presidency, which I think is important information. Though I say in the notes it's not terribly important to me, but for those of you who were alive back then, there was sort of an aura about Reagan that I don't think other presidents have had since. And maybe before Reagan, Kennedy was the only, hell, Camelot. So there was something about, sort of this royalty type of thing. You still have to be careful with that, because you don't want to be a king or a queen. But I thought this was really interesting information. But for the most part, really, ever since Andy Jackson beat John Quincy Adams, we've seen our presidents as just one of us. One of the reasons why I think Bush Jr. was so popular is that he was sort of a doofus. And regular people could relate to him. It's like the whole thing. What president do you want to sit down and drink a beer with? And that's how people tend to vote these days, I guess. But in any case, so that's the imperial president. Take a look at that. But when we're thinking about prudence, one thing that I haven't mentioned, and I think Goodnight is implying this, and it's been implied to some other things when we're walking toward the mall here, is certain situations happen, right? We have crises, we have whatever, but presidents are always in the process of framing the situation as well, giving their certain slant on it. So 9/11, was that a crime or was it an act of war? Bush slanted it, framed it as an act of war. And then one thing that we can do, or presidents can do, is if they frame it a particular way and the populace sort of buys that frame, buys that perspective, this is the situation, then the actions that a president takes can be seen to be prudential, depending on how one slants the situation. One of the things that I thought was really, really interesting about Obama's speech, that the speech that you gave just this past Friday, was how he framed everything through God's grace. Taking down the flag is God's grace. And framing doesn't mean it's fake or anything like that, just like rhetoric isn't fake. It can be very, very sincere, but the way that you sort of say, okay, this is the situation, and then you act accordingly to how you frame the situation, you can sort of set yourself up to being prudential. So framing the situation and selling that, in a sense, persuading the American people that, ooh, there's an Olive Garden over there. I hated that Olive Garden. Ooh, this Olive Garden over here, I don't know if you can see it. That Olive Garden is where I partied hard for my 21st birthday. My here's I'm by the Sears now. Um, I went with my parents and my little sister to that Olive Garden to celebrate my 21st birthday. I had one beer, I think. I was a party animal. But wow, there's the side of my celebration of my 21st birthday. Did you know I got carded on my 42nd birthday at Bilo? It was sort of funny. But in any case, oh, look what I have before me. I'm feeling the American dream. What you see, can you see that? Can you see that? That's my Toys R Us. Oh, I loved coming here as a kid. That was, can you see it? That was heaven. Wherever it is, there we are. Heaven, 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 heaven. I remember walking in there as a kid and just, I ran straight to the Star Wars aisle. I've dug up some of my old Star Wars stuff in my parents' house. Oh, they're not in very good shape. Millennium Falcon's all moldy. But in any case, so shaping and framing the situation to showcase prudence, sort of after the fact, and then the final thing is the whole American dream stuff. Everybody was sort of rah back in the day, but it's also very, very problematic. There's been so much stuff about the American dream and how, yeah, it's nice, but we all know that there's so many studies that showcase if you're born into a very poor family, the chances of you really truly living out the American dream, because folks who live in poor, the whole system is set up where if you're born poor, you pretty much die poor. You go to poor, underfunded schools, blah 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 blah. It's just so. But in any case, and if you're born rich, yeah, you can be president of the United States. Of course, there are exceptions. But in any case, the way that we have oftentimes framed the American dream is through this lens of individualism, which all about the I, all about the me. You work hard, I work hard, I do all this stuff, and then I can go to the Gap and buy stuff, so I am an individual. Which also means if you succeed, it's individual success, no matter the context, and if you fail, it's individual failure, no matter the context. So I have a lot of problems with the general, larger idea of the American dream, but that was what, in large part, Reagan's discourse was. He was sort of imperialistic in the sense that he was sort of seen as this king-like, wonderment. He framed things as controversies to showcase that he was doing smart and wise, so-called wise, actions, responding to things in certain ways, and all about the American dream. In front of me is the J.C. Penney. So, just a few things I wanted to add. Now I have to go live out the American dream with the flag behind me. And I'm going to go to the mall and inside and buy something. Take care.